All right, hello, my name is Brandon Paxton, and I'm speaking on behalf of the Oregon State Fire Marshals this afternoon. Welcome to the press briefing for September 14th for some updates regarding the fires that are occurring within Clackamas County. We have a number of speakers here today to share some important information. With that, Jim Bernard, the Clackamas County Commission Chair, Sheriff Craig Roberts of Clackamas County, Alan Sinclair, the Southwest Incident Management Team #1 Incident Commander, Dr. Sarah Present, the Public Health Officer for Clackamas County, and Nancy Bush, Clackamas County Disaster Management Director. So with that, I will turn it over to Chair Bernard.
Good afternoon. I'm Jim Bernard, Chair of the Clackamas County Board of Commissioners. We're happy to announce today a reduction in the map, which will allow more of you to go home. And the sheriff will talk more about that map in a minute, and we'll zoom in on the map. In the midst of these unprecedented times, hope is very important. We will get through this, and you will get to, hopefully, your home. And I want to thank all those neighbors and folks who have helped other neighbors save their property or keep their animals. On the way here, I saw many farms that had extra horses, horse trailers, and other things. So it's really important, all the work you have done to help preserve what's important to many of our Clackamas County residents. Also like to thank the dedicated firefighters, first responders, law enforcement, emergency operations staff, those of you who have put your life on the line and your property on the line. I also want to extend my sincere appreciation to our various partner agencies and neighboring counties who have sent resources to us. You've all been amazing. We couldn't do it without you. Also, our county staff members have worked tirelessly on this response effort. I simply can't thank you enough. Finally, all of the countless volunteers who have helped your loved ones, your neighbors, in the path of the wildfire get ready and safely depart. Thank you so much for everything. Our resilience and concern for each other's health and safety will get us through this together. On behalf of the commissioners and myself, we are forever grateful for the enduring strength and spirit of all of you in Clackamas County. Thank you, Sheriff.
Hi, again, my name is Craig Roberts, Sheriff of the Clackamas County. I want to echo what Chair Bernard said. Just want to extend my thanks to all our first responders, 911 dispatchers, and countless people that have stepped up in so many ways. I want to reiterate that we've had a tremendous amount of law enforcement resources coming to our county, helping us in patrol efforts. I think it's important to remember really the number of law enforcement that are in our rural areas and helping keeping our communities safe. We have the state police, Multnomah County Sheriff's Office, Washington County Sheriff's Office, Lake Oswego Police Department, Oregon City Police Department, Canby Police Department, Molalla Police Department, and Milwaukee. We could not do this without their incredible support and help and making sure that we have lots and lots of law enforcement out there keeping your homes and properties safe. I want you to also kind of elaborate a little bit on our response times. So because of the mass law enforcement, our response times in this area are much quicker than they normally are. Most of our calls were arriving on scene within about 3 minutes. So I want folks to know that this is not taking a half an hour, that we are really saturating the area with law enforcement to protect your property. I also want to extend a thanks to the FBI's Joint Terrorism Task Force, which includes staff from our office. They're helping us vet individuals we are contacting or suspects in crimes that may have links to any groups or organizations that may be involved in criminal behavior. I want to clarify for the record that one of our captains indicated a source stated that Antiva was involved in possible criminal activity. That source has since been determined to be false. I also want to make sure that the public is aware that we have an incredible team of detectives that are literally assessing every single call that comes into our office in the evacuated area. I also again, want to reiterate that we have no suspects as of this date associated with any groups. So we're expecting a few changes to the evacuation levels, and I want to go over some of those. And a question came up about the sheriff's office making those decisions. I want everybody to understand that this is really a coordinated team effort on making the decisions on evacuation. I turn to the federal team and their expertise. I turn to local fire and many other leaders that we come together around the table, and now we're going to move forward in this. So there's a lot of safety precautions. I'm not making that decision in a vacuum. It really is a team effort in making the next level of that move. So I'll just talk briefly about some of those. An area south of Oregon City and Canby, encompassing some portions of Malino and Monitor, will move from level 2 to level 1. An area east of Oregon City, encompassing some portions of Redland, Beaver Creek, and Highland areas, along with areas of south of the city of Sandy, including some areas of Eagle Creek, Firwood, and Wildcat Mountain, have been moved to level 3 to level 2. Again, we can't encourage you enough to please check the wildfire evacuation map on the Clackamas County website for the latest information. You can enter your address and see what evacuation level, if any, that you are in. So one last reminder, too, is we're asking people to stay out of the evacuation levels 3. What we need to make sure our roadways are clear for the firefighters and people needing to get in and out. When we have people just going out there to check things out, it really does slow our response and is inhibiting our ability to really make sure that firefighters get into where they need to do their job. So another thing, we'll just continue to make announces as the changes happened. I want to say it's very fluid. Our top priority is really trying to get people back into their homes. But again, we want to make sure it's safe before they're allowed back in. So thank you.
Good afternoon. I'm Alan Sinclair, Incident Commander with Southwest Area Team Number 1. So our crews are engaged in working, and my team is engaged in working with all the cooperators that have been here since the beginning, since before our work started. We did have a question on the percent of containment, and containment is not reflective of the work that is currently being done. Crews are out there working hard. There's a process that takes place before we have the confidence to say that line's contained. So as they are digging control lines, they have to mop up any hot areas around those control lines, and then we generally wait for a little bit just to make sure that those lines are going to hold. We do not want to call something contained and then have it not be contained. So we're very diligent in the process that we take to start calling lines contained. I want to ensure you hard work is being done and has been done since this incident started. You should start seeing containment in the next few days. We're getting in resources. This is the #1 incident in the region. So we are having resources sent to us. We're at about 400 plus personnel currently, with more resources coming in today and over the next few days. We're getting what we need. Our crews are engaged. I spent the day today going from Estacada to Colton, meeting with the folks that have been working in those areas and just really getting a feel for what's going on out there. People are working together, and the spirits are high, and I really appreciate all the hard work that's being done out there. And I also appreciate the welcome that our firefighters are getting from the communities and from all the cooperators that we're working with. Thank you.
Hi again, Brandon Paxton on behalf of the Oregon State Fire Marshal's Office to provide just a brief update on the 3 additional fires that are burning within Clackamas County as part of the North Cascade Complex. To expand on what the chief previously noted, our firefighters are as well actively engaged in suppression activities, continuing to protect structures, patrolling, and looking for hot spots to continue to mop up. So with that said, just some brief numbers. As we know it today, the Wilhoit fire, we talked about that yesterday, was estimated at 776 acres and 100% lined. And when I say lined, we have crews around the fire, but you may still see some smoke or fire burning in the center of the fire. So that would be considered normal, but the crews are still in the area and working hard to fully contain those. But at this point, that is 100% lined. Unger Road was estimated at 378 acres with 100% lined and continuing to mop up. And Dowdy Road is estimated at 1,500 acres, 20% lined and continuing to mop up. And to expand, in addition to the firefighters that are on the federal fire on Riverside, the North Cascade Complex fires have about 314 firefighters from across the region. So we have firefighters who have been here from the beginning and continue to work tirelessly to protect those communities in which they live and serve. Again, expanding on what was previously said, please stay out of the area. Our crews are working, and it's a safety hazard for our crews, and therefore it's a safety hazard for you. We are continuing to fall trees in the area, which poses significant risk to the firefighters as well as anybody who would be in that area. So again, very active and very dynamic. And then in closing, we are getting some reports that people are gathering together and grabbing shovels and axes and saws and going out to the front lines to be firefighters. Please don't do that. This is a highly dynamic scene, of course, and our firefighters are highly trained and properly equipped and have knowledge of the area and what a fire could pose in terms of risk to them. So please refrain from doing that for everybody's safety and allow us as the firefighters to take care of that. And with that, I will hand it off to Dr. Present.
Good afternoon. I'm Dr. Sarah Present, the Public Health Officer for Clackamas County. Thank you for having me here today. I'm here to talk about air quality and health updates. So the air quality across the region remains at a hazardous level. It is vital that you stay inside. Please check on your family and your friends and your neighbors who may be struggling. People who have evacuated their homes and those experiencing homelessness should relocate indoors if possible. You can find information about shelter spaces through the Red Cross cascades. In the last day, we have seen an approximately 10% increase in emergency room visits for smoke-related illnesses. Everyone can have health effects from the smoke, and it is especially dangerous for those most vulnerable populations. As I mentioned yesterday, people aged 65 and older, or those with diabetes, are more likely to have underlying cardiovascular disease, which is known to be worsened by air quality like this, with increased heart attacks and arrhythmia events. Pregnant women are also at increased risk due to changes in their blood circulation and unknown risks to the fetus. Children are sensitive to smoke because their respiratory systems are still developing, their airways are smaller, and they breathe faster in relation to their body size than adults do. The air quality is technically better today than yesterday in many areas of our county and region. In fact, the air quality index here in Oregon City is lower. However, it's still in the hazardous range at around 300. This means that everyone is still likely to be affected, even if there are improvements. So I'd like to recommend that you continue to check the air quality index at the air quality index page or airnow.gov for current levels in your area, and continue to remain inside and reduce your activity levels as much as possible. Please be aware that the Oregon Department of Environmental Quality Hazardous Air Alert has been extended through Thursday at this time. I want to thank you all for taking the precautions to keep you and your loved ones safe and healthy in these very challenging times. Nancy?
Thank you for being here this afternoon. I am Nancy Bush, and I am the Disaster Management Director here for Clackamas County. We want to remind you to please be safe. Fire conditions are still changing, and visibility and air quality is still very poor. Please only travel if necessary. For those of you who have evacuated and have received official notification that you can now return to your homes, please take special care to be cautious as you travel home. Allow for extra time and stopping distances. There may be debris on the highways and the roads, such as rocks and fallen limbs. There also may be damage to the roads and to utility poles. Be aware of use and use extreme caution around trees, power poles, and other tall objects or structures that have lost stability. Before inspecting your home, check for the smell of gas. Turn off power until you have completed all of your inspections. Discard any food that you may have had refrigerated or that has been exposed to heat, smoke, and soot. While we continue to recover from these fires, it's important to remember that we are still in the midst of COVID-19. Please continue to wash your hands often and also wash down commonly used surfaces. In terms of communication, it's important to send text messages or use social media to reach out to family and friends. During times like these, sometimes phone calls are difficult to make during disasters, during and after. If you haven't already, please sign up for our public alerts to keep up with our changing situation, and you can do that by going to clackamas.us and following the prompts. Again, thank you, and please be safe, and we'll get through this together.
Okay, that completes the presentation from all of our presenters. Happy to answer any questions that our media may have. Lisa Coyne. Chief Sinclair.
Alan, can you explain a little bit about what's happening? In other words, you see this on the map, but in a lot of areas, people don't see the actual flames. But it's my understanding that there's still a large part of this that's burning out to the east, that there aren't even any firefighters on at this point.
So, initial actions on this fire took into account life safety. And so we are picking up from those initial actions, which were really focused around the populated areas. So right now, what we want to do is get those lines secure with the resources that we have. There are folks that are looking at that bigger picture, piecing together where the lines are going to be to contain the fire. But right now, the true groundwork being done is around the north to the northwest part of the fire. There is planning going on, there's scouting going on, people are making the plan, and as we're getting in more resources, they'll be inputted to take action on that plan.
We've seen the winds die down, but is there anything else that's helping or hurting at this point?
The wind's down, the temperatures are a little moderated. This morning I noticed some moisture on my windshield, so we've got some humidity in the air. All those things are helpful, but they're not going to put the fire out. They're giving us a bit of a break to get out there and get those lines established. But this is going to be a long duration incident. There's a lot of fire out there. We'll continue to monitor conditions and plan accordingly.
Do you have any idea when you might get air support flying for you?
So, with the smoke that we have, we're not using any manned aircraft, but we do have unmanned aircraft that we're utilizing. So we do have a large drone that's doing some observation and mapping. So we've got the ability to see heat sources with that and get a good visual on what's actually happening with the fire behavior on the ground.
Do you have any sense when the people in Estacada will be able to go back? I mean, would it be hypothetically as early as this week, or that's just probably not going to happen?
So I'm not prepared to speculate on when. Again, there's processes with everything we do. We're methodical. We need to ensure first that there is not a threat from fire, but then we work with all our partners to ensure that there's not threats from anything else. If there has been any damaged infrastructure, those utility authorities need to go out and make that determination. As the sheriff alluded to, we've got a big group of decision makers from your community that we're working with to make those decisions, and that could take some time.
Question for the sheriff.
And that last answer was in reference, Lisa, to when the residents of Estacada could go back into their homes, correct? Okay. Sheriff?
There were a couple of reports this weekend that confirmed arrests for looting. How widespread is that problem overall? Is it very isolated, or is it a bigger problem?
As far as some of the arrests that have been made, one of the things we're working on right now, hopefully by the next press conference, we'll have some of the crime data to give you exact crime and as what's going on. I would say there is a slight increase. I wouldn't say it's astronomical. The crimes of individuals that have been arrested include trespassing, burglary, theft, and those kinds of things.
And we continue to hear reports of armed vigilantes in the county. As evacuation zones are lifted, what should residents do if they encounter like armed checkpoints or something like that?
Right. So the question was, there's continued reports of vigilantes in the area, and I would encourage citizens that if they see this or observe it, that's where we want them to call 911. As I mentioned earlier, there's an incredible amount of patrol deputies, both city, county, state, that are out there. We're having conversations with these individuals, that some of which are having, I think their intent is positive to try and protect their neighbor's property. But once again, we're encouraging those individuals that let us take care of any suspicious activity, people committing any kind of crimes, to get on the phone and let us handle that.
These aren't people protecting their property. These are like armed checkpoints where they confronted people with rifles and brandished firearms and chased people away. I mean, is it safe to pass through the county? Especially having a couple of journalists, is it safe to report in the county?
So the question again is these are armed checkpoints. There were a couple areas of that. Once again, we've had conversations with these individuals that it's not allowed. Any kind of this activity continues, obviously we'll move forward with any kind of criminal prosecution or action in that matter. So right now, I would say that things have toned down dramatically. I think that there was a lot of concern we did not have a heavy patrol presence out there. And once again, I want to reiterate that we do have a heavy patrol presence, and we're addressing any concerns that citizens might have actually rather quickly. And that's where I wanted to reiterate calls for service, or we're getting there in approximately 3 minutes, which is fast for that area.
Additional questions? Anything from this side? Okay. Well, thank you all for taking the time to join us. Again, heed the advice that's on the various informational websites and reference the map for those changing in evacuation levels. Thank you very much, and continue to be safe.